Hello, Susan. Thank you so much for meeting with me today and chatting.
I'm so happy to.
Thank you so much. Can you briefly introduce yourself to our audience and tell us what you're doing right now?
I'm Susan Peediyakkal. I currently work for NASA. I am the Strategic Operations Manager for the Cybersecurity Services line, which basically means that I cover all topics cybersecurity in the NASA enterprise level. So it's a fun time, really loving it there. I have been in cybersecurity for about 20 years.
Wow.
Most of my background is in threat intelligence, which is why I was here today. I was teaching a workshop on threat intelligence and building the foundations of a CTI program.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you so much for that overview.
Yeah.
And can you tell me a little bit about why you chose to come here and speak at BSidesNYC? Because there are a lot of other conferences happening.
Yeah.
And what are you most excited for today?
Yeah. So I live in DC, and I have a special place in my heart for New York. I always wondered if they had a B-Sides. I know we had to take a little bit of a hiatus because of COVID and stuff like that. So when I saw the call for papers, it was just super intriguing, and it kind of fit with my schedule. I have a baby at home, so I kind of have to plan around that. And so when it fit my schedule and everything, I was like, you know what, let me submit a paper and see. And I got selected, so it was nice. But just a great reason to come to the city, meet a different part of the cyber community. It was exciting to see that it was happening again. Happy to have it back.
Yeah, and did you like your interaction so far with the NYC community?
Oh my goodness. So you asked me what I was excited about, and I was here to teach a workshop, and I actually just finished. I was the first workshop of the day, and the room was full. Some people left because of a talk that happened in the middle, but it was still like really great feedback that I got from everybody.
I was there in that room, by the way. Yeah. It was full, and it was a great talk.
It was so nice, and everybody had really great questions. I wasn't stumped, which was nice, and I got really, really nice feedback afterwards. Met a lot of really awesome people, made some really great connections. So I'm looking forward to going back downstairs and talking to more people and visiting.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Can you tell us why you did a workshop instead of a talk?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people do get hesitant because there is a lot of prep that needs to be done, at least on my end.
Yeah.
Whenever I think about presentation or workshop, a workshop needs to go smooth. There needs to be a lot of things that are given to your guests in advance.
Yeah.
And sometimes I hesitate, but I've been wanting to do a workshop. So tell me, why a workshop, and what should I do if I were to if I have to be successful at it?
Yeah, so I actually submitted a talk originally. It was about the intersection of threat intelligence and vulnerability management, how to have a very reciprocal relationship. Like I mentioned, I have a baby, and I didn't respond to Huxley saying that I had been accepted to give a talk until like a good 10 days later, and he's like, yeah, we already filled your spot, but we would love for you to teach a workshop on this. And I was like,
serendipity.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that works too. A little bit more work, but sure. And when I said, I was like, we'd have to pivot then, because doing a talk on just vulnerability management and threat intelligence relationship wouldn't fill 2 hours for me. So I just said, I was like, let's pivot and do it on building a threat intelligence program. And he was like, great, let's do it, because I can talk literally all day, all week about it. And so when you talked about the prep, you're 100% right. I think I Googled it, and it was something like for every minute, it's like, or every 10 minutes, it's like an hour of preparation or something somebody came up with. But
that's a stat I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know how real it is, but that's what Google told me. And I 100% believe it now, though, because leading up to it, after Huxley and I talked, he was like, Leigh, let's do a workshop. It's going to be about 2 hours. I was like, okay. And so I start like outlining it and getting the content and everything like that together. Literally, as I'm arriving today, I'm still fixing slides and stuff like that. So I was literally behind registration with my computer, like fixing slides. As you said about like trying to get things to people beforehand, I didn't know who was going to be there, so it was hard to hand anything out before. I wanted to have handouts, and then there was a snafu at FedEx Kinko, so you just kind of have to go with it. And like I said, it was really well received, and I got some really great feedback, so I was happy that it went so well for the hiccups that I experienced in the meantime. So
looks like you did some incident response as well.
Yeah, exactly, right.
That's very cool. I think you spoke a lot about the blood, sweat, and tears that go behind this.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the outcome was worth it, right? Like,
yes, very much.
What was your biggest takeaway, and what were you the most happiest about after giving your workshop?
Well, one that it was done because I could finally like relax. It wasn't that I didn't want to do it, but I just needed to relax a little bit afterwards because I've just been so like I need to get this done. And like I keep saying the feedback, but like people came up to me afterwards and they were like, "Hey, I'm in the SOC," or "Hey, I'm incident response," or "Hey, I'm vulnerability management," or I was always trying to figure out how to manage this, and you gave me some really good talking points and things like that. Like I just got such amazing return from everybody about their
Yeah.
takeaways, and so that makes me feel good because somebody even said they were like you presented everything in a very like clear manner, and it was like such nice feedback to hear because I was sitting here thinking like, are people going to be tracking, you know, like am I making this too complicated or something like that, or is this even clear, is it just to me, like trying to make sure I don't have my own bias of since I know this it makes sense to everybody else kind of thing. But it was really well done. In the present, it was more of a presentation for 2 hours because I didn't get to do tabletops with them. We were running out of time, and I literally talked for like I think 105 minutes or something like that. I said, and then I had like 15 minutes left for questions, and we had to go. And so I didn't get to everything that I wanted. There was so much more that I could have done, but maybe next year, who knows?
Yeah.
So
I mean, since you love this community so much, you're
Yeah.
always welcome to come back
Yeah.
and talk and share your wisdom. So what I really heard there was that you felt like you had a multiplicative effect across so many disciplines, right? It was
Yeah.
not just people who were doing threat intelligence day in and day out. It was also like SOC analysts,
Right.
incident responders. Uh, Everybody seemed to have been like super inspired by what you've been doing. So that's great. Thank you so much for that.
No, I wanted to make sure that because I mean I think it was one of the questions that Huxley asked me when we first talked, and he was like, "Is it just for like CISOs? Is it just for CTI people?" And I said, "No, it's for everybody actually."
Yeah.
So the fact that everybody from different elements of the security operations were there, and you know they were able to take something away from it, just made me super happy. Like
Great.
it's just what you would hope for making a when doing a workshop like this. So yeah.
Nice, nice. So a little birdie told me that you're also the host of B-Sides Sacramento.
I am, yes.
What does it take to build out a community of, and you know, like host a conference?
Yeah.
And why do you do it? More importantly, why do you do it?
Right. So I'm from Sacramento. I lived there basically from 5 until I left for the military. I realized when I joined the cyber community that there wasn't a B-Sides in Sacramento, and I found other people who thought the same, and they were from Sacramento and stuff. And I go back quite often, especially now with the baby, because my mom still lives there. So we kind of split our time. We're a little bit bi-coastal. So when I realized I was going to be there, I was like, you know, let's do this. Let's have this happen. And Jack Daniel from Security B-Sides was like, we don't care if it's 3 people in your grandmother's basement, as long as you're, you know, sharing information, learning something, you know, and building a community. That's all that matters. That's what Security B-Sides is about, as evident from today. And we started small. We had a nice little place called Hacker Lab. I think we did it in 2019, right before COVID hit. And we would hope to have done it again, but we haven't. Again, like B-Sides New York had to go on hiatus, we had to do the same thing, and we hope to do it this year. But when we were in the middle of planning it, we wanted to keep it on the smaller side because we didn't know how well it would be received or if people would even come, and so we had it capped at like 125 people, and we sold out like super fast. We were so excited about that. I think we hit capacity that day with all the volunteers and speakers and sponsors and everything. We were so worried about the fire marshal showing up, but luckily it turned out to be a really beautiful day, beautiful weather in Sacramento. We had a taco truck show up. I mean, it was an amazing day, and I can't wait to recreate it. And you know, we're in the midst of planning right now, so it'll
Nice.
be really nice to see it come back this fall.
So the why behind this is truly to bring everybody together.
Yeah. I mean, the Sacramento community was amazing. And even now, I have people reaching out to me being like, hey, are you going to do a B-Side Sacramento again? I think people are really tired of having to go to the Bay Area for their cyber fill, right? Like, they wanted something a little bit closer. And it's just, we do it a simple, really simple format, 20-minute quick talks, so we can fit a lot of people in and get a lot of information. And, you know, there's that attention span. I get another statistic that I'm probably going to misquote, but it's like people only had the attention span of 15, 20 minutes. So I didn't want people to be getting bored or anything like that after I just taught a 2-hour workshop. But
That's a workshop. That's more hands-on.
right.
Yeah.
So we had like a nice little what is it? we didn't have workshops, but we had like the lock picking village and stuff like that come out. We had like a little area off to the side for the sponsors. It was a nice little day, and we hope to expand this year. I don't think we're going to go. We didn't have a wait list or anything like that. Like, it seemed like 125 was a perfect number, so we'll probably stick to something around there, and then have room to scale it or grow it if we need to. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah.
And I think now we're going to move on to the fun segment of our conversation.
It's been fun.
The fun for the viewers.
Yeah.
Or maybe for me. No,
Yeah.
just kidding. The fun segment is really talking about, or like before we started talking, I had asked you to input something to ChatGPT, like prompt ChatGPT for something that you are an expert in. And the question is, do you think ChatGPT can do a decent job at scaling some of the expertise that you have? And go, like, feel free to read the response, and I'll go ahead and read the question. So the prompt from Susan was, what are some elements of a cyber threat intelligence program? That was the prompt, and I believe this is the response. Go ahead and let me know what you think.
Sorry. Let's see. So I gave it this prompt because I just taught the workshop, so it's at the front of my mind. I think it's funny the approach that it took to it, because it's from a very specific point of view, a strategic approach to it.
Okay.
I don't think it encompasses everything. By the way, you called me an expert, and I'm not. Like, I'm like, I'm always learning.
No, don't short sell yourself.
So I would have mentioned things like it having a threat profile. It mentions collection analysis, so I would say collection plan. It doesn't really say anything about PIR's, priority intelligence requirements. It talks about threat scoring and prioritization. So it touches on it, but it doesn't speak about it as specifically as I would. Mitigation and response, communication and collaboration. I hit on some of these points during my talk, but it definitely is structured in a different way. So that's interesting, because I would wonder if somebody came to ChatGPT and asked them this question and, believed them that they knew threat intelligence, we would have differing, views on it for sure. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. But would it be a good pointer for someone to, like, at least start a conversation?
To start a conversation, yes. But hopefully they wouldn't get their feelings hurt if they were corrected.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll let you go, because you have been talking a lot today.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming over here and
course.
sharing your journey and your emotions about B-Sides in general. So thank you so much.
This was really lovely. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Susan, for your time.
Take care.